Let's start by singing together. We're going to jump into your life. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, everyone. So great to see everyone here. We're happy you've joined us here at Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living, in the room and live streamed at home. Hello. We are a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy for daily living based on spiritual principles and practices that are universal among the world's religions and wisdom traditions. We honor all paths by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness so that we can make the world a better place. Would you please say with me our vision statement, which should appear on the screen? We are a thriving community where individually and together we embody and express our spiritual magnificence for the highest good of all. Thank you. The theme for today is the one body. And our speaker is one of my favorites, Randy Scott, who is the Zen empowerment guy. I'll tell you more about that later when I introduce him. And our special musician is Dallas Brown, also a favorite of mine. And our readings and prayer will be offered by Teresa Martin with the lovely voice. And doing high watch for us is Katie Hernandez in the back of the room. She's one of our trained prayer practitioners who's trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer. And throughout the service, she'll be knowing the highest and best is unfolding. So for announcements today, just a few of them. The Salt Lake Interfaith Roundtable's annual Sacred Music Concert was originally scheduled to be today, but it's been canceled due to public health concerns. And we are following CDC guidelines as well by, we're following CDC guidelines and strongly encouraging that we wear masks in the building. Thank you. And Reverend Lynn Hegster's ordination, if you didn't get to go to that, is available online. You can look at our website, spirituallyfree.org, and it's on the homepage. There's a link so that you can watch it. And Reverend Nicole was the ordaining minister, So that should be neat. And a few regular events to remind you of. Every month we have an Intro to CSL class, and it's the first Sunday after service in the youth room. We have an animal celebration service that we just started. We've had our first one, and we've got an animal remembrance tree in the back. And we do that every third Thursday. And our Taizé now is quarterly rather than monthly, and we'll have it near the equinoxes and solstices. So our next one will be around the fall equinox. Next week, our meditation will be led by Selena Baugh, and our speaker and musician will be Carrie Hillary. So that's it for announcements, and you can always find more information about all these things and reminders on our website, which is spirituallyfree.org. So now that you've heard a little more about us, if we have anyone here for the first time, we'd love it if you're willing, if you're comfortable, to raise your hand so that we can just wave at you and welcome you, and we'd like to just know you're here so we can say hello. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We have welcome packets in the lobby. One of the concierges can give you that and answer any questions, and don't be shy to ask anybody. We're a friendly bunch. My name is Shemaine, and I hope you'll feel welcome and like this is a place you can bring your whole self. So now is our time of prayer and contemplation. And before we do that, I'll just remind you that all of our affirmative prayer practitioners are available to pray with and for you. Those wearing purple stoles around their shoulders can pray with you after service today. And you can submit a prayer request either in the lobby, in a prayer request box, or online, anytime, 24/7. And all the practitioners will pray with you and know your highest and best. So now I invite you to go within and to that contemplative state where we experience stillness, wisdom, and wholeness. And allow the reading and the prayer and song to help you settle in. Our prayer practitioner, Jim, will begin.
Today's reading is called Spirit Made Manifest, adapted from 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom by Ernest Holmes. This is written in the first person, so I invite you to adjust the words to fit you so you can feel the statements of truth as your very own. My body, every part of it, is made of pure substance, the essence of the divine. This infinite and pure essence within me takes form in tiny cells that are complete in themselves, yet work in perfect harmony with the whole body. My body, which is spirit manifest in form, knows no time. It only knows to express fully in this present moment. Divine presence, being everywhere and filling all space, must be in me. I recognize this presence within me, and I know it must be who I really am. I breathe in and allow this indwelling divinity to flow effortlessly through my entire consciousness. I feel it reach down into the depths of my being. I rejoice in my divinity. I radiate perfect health. I am fortified with infinite perfection in body and mind. This universal life is my life. Every breath fills me with energy and vitality. It renews every cell in my body. I am an expression of spirit. I am spirit made manifest right here in this body right now. Today I know that there is one Spirit in every person I meet. I see the divine in every single one. Spirit within me connects to the Spirit within them, for we all have only one source.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. And I know this voice of love, it is singing through my life. It is all I am, every part of me. It's all that I choose to be. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only
Breathing in from that sacred music, that vibration that resonates in every heart. I recognize the beauty that lives within. And when I open my eyes in the natural world, I see it all around. And it reminds me the presence is always all around, always deep within me and each and every person. for we are all one in this wholeness of life. And Spirit, the divine, is within all of it, for it made it all. It is a part of that which created all. In this oneness of Om, this holy vibration of Spirit, we embark upon this service today on a holy day that we set aside to be together in that oneness, in that spirit of all life, celebrating with music the power of our word and the beauty of togetherness. As we start this service today, may we all say together, and so it is.
Thank you, Jim. Well, as we tie a bow on this wonderful theme of living everyday wonder of our physical body, we're going to sing a song together, a great John Hyatt tune. We are so blessed to have this vehicle, our physical body, to express in our world in ways that we choose to. What a gift of all the good that happens through your hands. Let's sing together. Well, as you heard, one of our favorite special musicians is sharing music today. Dallas Brown has well over 100 flutes. He just can't stop. He told me this morning, "Hey, I got a new flute." Of course. So he's going to premiere that for us today. Let's give a big, warm welcome back, Dallas Brown.
Thank you. That was lovely. I was taking a little nap out backstage. Didn't want to come back. But I'm glad I did because I get to introduce to you Randy Scott. You can make your way up here, Randy. Randy is an author, a speaker, a mentor, and he's the founder of Zenpowerment. He's passionate about the intersection between science and spirituality, and he's taken principles from both and combined them into what he teaches through his organization, Zenpowerment. So please welcome Randy Scott.
Dallas, holy smokes. The last time I saw Dallas play his flute was 8 years ago. And the reason I remember it is it was up near Heber City, and I was with my 9-year-old's mom, and on the way back, I hit a deer. It's the middle of nowhere. You'd expect that. 8 days later, in another car, getting off the exit to Springville, I hit another deer. Now, the difference between those two instances is that in between, I was reading Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. So the first time I hit the deer, I was in all this resistance. The second time, I was like, I chose this. I chose this. And it shifted energy like crazy, because then I could just move forward. So grateful that I went and saw Dallas. And here's the interesting thing. When I hit that deer, there was liquid coming out. And so when I went to get it fixed, I said, hey, can you check? There was like green liquid, and then there was like oil type stuff. And he asked me, he said, how long ago did you get an oil change? And it had only been a couple weeks. And he said, your oil plug came out. And if you would not have hit that deer, the engine would have froze up, and that wouldn't be covered by insurance. So thank you. We live in the possibility of miracles. So there's a story about, the body was complaining about the stomach, right? So the mouth was complaining, the stomach doesn't do anything. It's like, I have to chew all this food, and the stomach doesn't do anything. And the hand's like, I have to go pick that food. The stomach doesn't do anything. And the feet's like, I have to walk around and get this food. So they went on strike. A couple days later, everyone was feeling a little weak. Everyone realized what the stomach does. Now, the topic today is the one body, which is kind of an interesting topic. So I get to drive a 1966 Randy Scott. That's what I get to drive around. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Of all the billions of people on the earth, we are unique. Now, one of the things, it's so interesting that Linda reached out to me and asked if I could talk, with just a couple weeks' notice. And when I got the topic, I thought, this is perfect. So I've shared in the past that for the last 20 plus years, I have done life hacking. And what that means is I experiment on myself to see if it's true for me or not true for me. And I had mentioned that for the last couple of years, I was eating 500 calories a day just to see if my body could handle it, and it handled it fine. And then about 5 months ago, I decided to do intuitive eating and intuitive sleeping. And so what's interesting is the amount that I've been eating hasn't changed, but the type of food is whatever calls to me, I tap in. So one of the things that helps me is I tap into my body and I ask it questions. And I was holding space for a friend of mine, and I have the best friends. So normally when I come here, I'm all by myself, and I have Nicole and Stephen and Deborah, and they are like the most amazing humans. You should get to know them. So I was holding space, and on the way back from holding space, my body said I needed Five Guys Cajun fries. Isn't that cool? I mean, I go there maybe once a year, but when I was going back, it's like, this is what you get. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So one of the things about 3 weeks ago, as I practiced intuitive eating and intuitive sleeping, I had a very interesting experience where within a 3-day period of time, I only got 5 hours of sleep. So the first day I didn't sleep at all. And the second day I slept for 2 hours. And then the third day I slept for 3 hours. Now what's interesting, one of the things that I always share is the what and the why are up to me, and the how and the when are up to the divine. And so I choose to be a vessel the best I can. And so on Thursday, I was up at 3:30 in the morning, and I got on Facebook, and this person that I have not spoken to in about 7 or 8 years, I used to work with her, and she reaches out. She's like, "Are you online?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So she called me. She's going through like a separation. She's working through addiction, and she lost her job. And so she just needed someone to talk with. And I was available. The day after, another friend of mine, Nicole, posted a thing, and she talked about happiness. What is happiness? And I felt like I needed to respond to that. And I responded to it, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking about the vibration of happiness, the vibration of peace. And then what was interesting is 2 days later, we were at an event together, and these people have become good friends in a very short period of time. So one of the things, when we look at our bodies, we can do top down, right, from our mind telling our body, or we can go bottom up, right? You always hear, trust your heart, trust your gut, trust your first impression. Why do you think that is? So here's my philosophy. Our gut and our heart have neurons just like the brain does, and this is what I believe is connected to the divine, right? And so when we follow our heart, when we follow our gut, then that information goes up the vagus nerve, hits the brain. That's your first impression. And then what does our brain do? Creates all kinds of stories, right? Makes up all kinds of stuff, why we shouldn't do it, I don't listen to this very much at all. The volume is way down up here because our gut and our heart have so much wisdom. The Cherokee Indians have a word called Shante Ishta, which is the single eye of the heart. And that is how they pray to Creator, is through Shante Ishta. And so it's, to me, it's super interesting because, like in the Christian scriptures, you know, they say, "May your eye be single to the glory of God," not eyes. So it could be your third eye, could be, or it could be Shante Ishta. But both of those are singular. So it gets you wondering, gets you thinking. So in Science of Mind, he says, if the spirit or divine intelligence has seen fit to give us a physical body, it would be absurd to think of the body as an illusion unworthy of our attention. Rather, we should think of the body as a spiritual instrument now. Think about that. If we could touch the divine in every moment because we're connected and we're just individuations of the divine, how does that feel? Right? We can tap into our body. It's like, I said I'm driving a 1966 Randy Scott. Most of the time, I think we're in first gear and we're just stuck in first gear because we've got a lot more potential and a lot more capability if we just learn to tap in. And so it's super interesting as I've practiced intuitive eating and intuitive sleeping. It was so cool to see the things that show up, right? Things that I would consider miracles become commonplace. So one of the life hacks that I did about 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, is I wanted to learn more about energy. And Reiki is a form of energy work. And so I went to get my first Reiki session, and this woman, she put her hands on me, and then she's like, whoa. And she said, you have galaxies inside of you. It was my first session. I thought, a little cray-cray, that's cool, right? But then I became a Reiki master. I went through the attunements so that I could understand energy better. And then about a year and a half later, this other person wanted to run energy on me. And these two people don't even know each other. And she said, there are galaxies inside of you. So it kind of got my attention. Now, here's what we don't know. We know the scale of who we are compared to us. Right? What if, so we know that an atom has a proton and has electrons that go around. What if our sun is just a proton and we're hanging out on an electron? Right? We don't know the scale that we fit in. Right? Maybe I've got a little cell in my tiny toe, and it thinks it's all cool like I do. Right? Who knows? But if you think about it, this body that we have, we are kind of like the gods of our body. All the little cells, all the living intelligence within us wants to be heard. It wants us to pay attention to it. So how often do we take time to actually listen to our bodies? There's a quote by Albert Einstein, right? When you think of Einstein, you think super smart. But what he says, it is not intellect, but intuition which advances humanity. Intuition tells man his purpose in this life. Are we listening? Are we paying attention? There's a lot of intelligence in our bodies. So one of the biggest things that it talks about is that this is a spiritual tool. Our body is a spiritual tool if we choose to use it like that, right? If we choose to go bottom up. And what's really fun is the more we practice, the stronger it gets. So there are some different things, different tools, different things that I practice from a spiritual standpoint, because we know like the, get good rest, exercise, eat good foods, right? We know that this is how we take care of the vehicle. But how do we maximize the spiritual aspects that come through? And so the things that I do, the things that help me is, first of all, it's just practice. Even when you don't have to practice, just practice. Because intuition is just like a muscle. And the more we use it, the more it becomes unerring. I remember about 11 years ago, I got intuition to clean up the garbage on a block of where I worked. Had no idea why. Still don't have any idea why. But I did it. And then there are other times where I will follow intuition, and it's like, that's exactly why. But the more we practice, the stronger that muscle gets. So one of the things that I have as a habit is when I'm talking to my body, I'll tap on my chest, because it's like, hey, we're getting your attention because there's something we get to ask. There's something important that I get to know. It's interesting because the shamans and the medicine men that I learned from, they take a holistic approach. And you could have a physical ailment, but it's caused by an emotional issue. And I had a client of mine, and she ended up gaining like 60 pounds in 2 months. And she had gotten stuck when her mom passed away. And it was the program that showed up was that she had been abandoned. And so as we work through that, then the physical ailment passes as well. And so it's amazing when we take a holistic approach, how things can come together, how you can find ways to heal yourself and to heal your body. So the other thing is, do we stop and listen? It's interesting when one of the meditations, kind of a meditation, but it's actually a yoga practice, it's called Yoga Nidra. And it's a body scan, so most of the time I'll lay down, and even before I knew about the gut and the heart, I would have one hand on my heart and the other hand on my gut, and that just felt normal. And then when I learned more about that, it's like, okay, yeah, my body knew how to do that. But Yoga Nidra is a form of yoga that's a body scan, so it's almost like a guided meditation. That helps us tap into our body. And I do that 5 nights a week, and that's helpful. Also, if you're into yoga, Kundalini yoga is a really good way to tap into your body and into your energies. And then a couple things that I do on a regular basis is in the morning, one of my first meditations is actually a breathing exercise that I do with my phone. Your phone, if you have an iPhone, it can actually pick up your heartbeat. And then it gives you, to breathe in and breathe out. And it gets your mind and your heart in a place of coherence. And so it lines up, and you can actually see with your heart. And what's super interesting is that when our mind and our heart is in coherence, we're actually in coherence with the frequency of the planet, the Schumann frequency, which is 7.83 hertz. And so it's really cool that when we get in alignment, we're also in alignment with Mother Earth. So we talk about using a bottoms-up approach. What I would like to do as we close off here is I would like to do a meditation and have us just kind of close our eyes. And one of the things that it said is, I listen to my body knowing it is speaking as God. So just take a few breaths, get comfortable. So as you get in touch with your body, is there any place that you're feeling discomfort? And if so, what is your body trying to tell you? What message does your body want you to know right now? And what is one thing that we can do today to show love for our body? So as we get in touch with our bodies and learn to be grateful and appreciate them right here, right now, as they are, as we tap into the miracle, the spiritual miracle that we have a body that is unique to us. May we learn to turn the volume up in our heart and our gut, and turn the volume down in our brain, knowing that our body does know our highest and best good for us. May we make it a daily habit to learn from the wisdom that we have within our body, the divine connection that we have with our body acting as an antenna to the divine. May we strengthen it, nourish it, transform it, as together we say, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so
I do feel blessed. How about you? Thank you, Randy. That was a beautiful meditation and an inspiring talk. Now is the time in our service where we do the spiritual practice of conscious giving, giving to our source of spiritual food in a spirit of gratitude. In that spirit of gratitude for your good, please bring your gift to your hand, to your mind, to your heart. And feeling the truth of these words, let's speak together our giving affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be, and so it is.
Let's invite Dallas Brown back up to share some music with us. What a blast that is. Dallas, my friend, always a pleasure listening to you and getting to play with you. You are flute medicine, for sure. Thank you, Randy. That was an extraordinary message. I've been treating my body like a slave instead of a spiritual tool. I want my body to submit to my mind, to my choices. How well is that working for me? So there were probably 1,000 gems in that message you gave us, and thank you so much. What a pleasure. Let's look forward to the rest of the day, the rest of the week. May you be blessed. We look forward to July. We're going to celebrate living the extraordinary wonder of relationships. So please join us for that. Carrie Hillary will be here from California. She'll share some music and the message next week. Have a blessed summer, and I sure enjoy our community and the friendships that we nurture here. Let's stand together and sing.
There's a kid.
We're gonna. Yeah, are there kids? I don't know. Oh, cool. Hey, kids, we want you to shake your booty. So.
Shake it.
Song written by Shemaine.
Shemaine, yeah, Shemaine. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Shake it up, I'm